Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, I want to ask you a little question. Were you the kind of person who, when you grew up, you had like a friend or a family member or a neighbor or a classmate who knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they went through all of their schooling still wanting to do that exact same thing, went through university, came out the other end with a degree in the exact same thing, then landed a job and now they've been doing it forever? And then knowing that you are virtually the exact opposite of that, and you're just like, dang, why can't your vocation or your career, or even to go as far as saying your passion, why can't that be so transparent as this person in your life who seems to have everything together and knows exactly what they're doing in life? It's just not fair. Don't worry guys, I can 100% relate to exactly that. That was my life, and that still is my life, I guess. So today I want to talk about why we change our minds so much in life, why we're so indecisive, and really how we can change how we look at those things. I'm a very creative, sensitive person, very high in openness according to the Big 5 personality test, and that has stuck with me my whole life really. I had grown up wanting to do the arts and being pretty good at it. In my primary school, elementary school, I had been part of the marimba band, the dance classes and the big dance performances that would have every year. I was part of the choir. I auditioned for the school band but didn't get in it because in my audition, I had forgotten the New Zealand national anthem. That has happened more than once, I have to say. I had entered fine arts competitions. I was considered the class artist, the class musician, and the class actress. So I had a little bit of a reputation of having so much flair when it had come to expressing myself. And that had continued all through high school, where I taught my class in drama, I dabbled in contemporary music, in the fine arts, in pretty much anything related to anything artistic, really. I had come out of high school wanting to be an actress, and I didn't quite knew what that meant, but all I knew is that I lived and breathed acting. I'd ended up deciding to go to university to study theatre, and from there I found my love of writing. So I guess I kept going from one thing to another, changing the things I really love to do, finding different ways to express myself, and also finding that I was good in so many different disciplines, which was exciting and annoying at the same time. Now, after having, I don't know how much, 10 grand or more in university debt and not having made any kind of connections to the things that I really wanted to do, such as certain groups or individuals, I have kind of come out the other end going, what happened? Why haven't I actually been able to hone in on one particular thing? Why haven't I been able to just like pick one thing and go for it and actually do my best to make a full-blown career out of it? But you know what? I'm not the only one. I know many people who have gone to university and, let's just say, particularly studied the arts, a Bachelor of Arts, and unfortunately have really struggled to find something to do with their degree. Unfortunately, it's a supply and demand issue where there's not really enough of those subjects to really go around to everyone who is really ultra passionate about these things, and rightfully so. As in rightfully that you're allowed to be passionate about those certain things, not rightfully that you can't get a job in them. That would suck. There are actually so many people that I know in my life who have gone through that experience, my stepbrother included. He has changed what he's wanted to do so much, and he's a musician, so he's got that real creative flair about him, and fortunately he has found something that suits him. But my biological brother, he had known pretty much what he wanted to do his whole life. He had his mind set on being in STEMs, and he has gone right through to the very end of his education and has achieved what he set it out to do. So I have, of course, looked at him in frustration going, gosh, why couldn't I have had that same luck? And is it really luck? I would say it's a mixture of luck. I would say it's also a mixture of knowing the right people, already having a leg into the correct industries that you need to actually continue to make connections in. I would say it's a mixture of hard work, determination, never giving up. But unfortunately, for so many people in our world, it's really difficult to actually follow your dreams and actually achieve them. And while it's absolutely possible, there are certainly certain challenges that we do face in society that we don't often talk about, or we aren't educated about, especially in school, as we are starting to understand who we are and starting to learn about who we are. It's a real shame because I started to learn these things after I left school, after I faced the hardships of what being an adult is like, after I faced what it's like to raise a family, to provide for a family, and to have certain responsibilities in life. These certain responsibilities I'm sure you're aware of, such as keeping a roof over your head, keeping the power on. Those things can be absolutely vital just to meet our basic needs, obviously. So it's really difficult to be able to actually concentrate on our passions when those things may be lacking, when you're worried that you're not going to meet your next bill and your power might be cut off or your internet might be cut off. It's really hard when you get into that situation and you realize, gosh, life is not just about chasing your passions. Because if I don't meet these basic needs, I'm going to find it very difficult in order to actually chase my passions and do something with them. So let's rewind this a little bit and take us back to school. The kind of things we were taught in school and by our parents, especially if we are millennials. I know many of you are millennials. I mean, I have a whole range of generations who watch my channel, but if we look back to the kinds of things we were taught in school about actually achieving an education, I remember being told a lot to chase your dreams and to never give up. And that sentiment in itself is absolutely fine. But I don't think they backed it up with the correct mentality or the correct idea of what reality is about. I wish I would have known coming into adulthood how important it is to actually make certain connections within the industries that you want to get into, and that it's going to be incredibly difficult and everything's going to be working against you if you don't have those kinds of connections. Doesn't mean to say it's impossible. However, it's more to do with the fact that in school you don't actually really learn about the industries or how to engage with people in these certain industries. You don't really learn those life skills when you're at school. You just learn about how to do the content. The other issue is that when you're growing up, while you're constantly being told, live your dreams, become an astronaut, there are other certain very basic life things that, of course, I think your parents would and should teach you about. But the fact that life can be really bloody tough. It is so hard to make sure everything is in balance all of the time. It is so hard to set the amount of time aside to actually be able to focus on your discipline and to achieve what you're setting out to achieve. It takes some real sticking power. It takes really not giving up on yourself in order to actually move forward with traction. And then on top of that, there are no guarantees in life at all. Does that mean to say you shouldn't focus on your passions? No, not at all. My passions are my life. I cannot physically live without chipping away at something, without doing something where I get to express myself. But one thing I've come to realize is that, and it's incredibly relieving, you don't have to make your passion your career. And this is something that has brought me great relief. It's, again, not to say you can't make your passion your career, but I'm just here to take that pressure off you to say you're no less if you don't make your passion your career. You are no less of the person chasing that vocation, doing that vocation, if you don't make it your career. I think we view ourselves as failures, or that we've failed at our vocation when we don't monetize our passions. And I think that's incredibly sad, because there is no rule saying that you're not going to be at the top of your game if you're not able to monetize your passion. I have been around this mentality, especially in music, where people often say, and it comes from a place of being an artist, if you don't give up your day job and you aren't able to focus on pursuing music as a full-time thing, then you're not really a musician. You're not a professional musician, and you're not at the top of your game when it comes to being a musician. And I'm calling this sentiment out because firstly, that sentiment comes from a real place of privilege. In the real world, the average person will need to actually concentrate on making sure that they've got food in their bellies and a roof over their head before they can happily say they've made their passion their entire career. Secondly, I think it shows a lot of strength to be able to juggle your passion and your day job or these other disciplines in your life and actually strive forward to make it the best you can in every area of your life. That to me speaks more strength than saying, well, I'm just going to give up on absolutely everything else and focus on this one thing because I don't have the strength enough to be able to actually distribute my energy across different fields in order to live. The true test is knowing that you can actually make it when you have these different responsibilities in your life and you meet those responsibilities with the best effort that you can and conviction. Take it from my husband, James. He is a musician himself and he's also a landscaper. That's his day job. He didn't start making money from music until his late 20s, and he'd often put a lot of pressure on himself to have to quit landscaping and make music his full-time job. Otherwise, he may not have felt like a musician, or he may have compared himself to other people in the industry who have made it their full-time jobs and thinking that he's not as much as a musician as they are because he has two separate responsibilities in his life. However, he has come to the realization himself that he can absolutely do more than one thing. He can absolutely put energy into more than one field in his life in order to be a successful person, in order to feel content with what he's got to offer. And he's killing it. He will spend his time learning set lists when he's driving to different sites. He will spend every waking minute of his life constantly working at something, constantly bettering himself. Even if in the beginning it was really difficult for him to actually monetize music. But he's living proof that you're able to have more than one job and still consider yourself a successful musician. Where I'm trying to go with this is the fact that take the pressure off yourself to be a certain way. Take the pressure off yourself to feel like you have to monetize everything that you're good at or that you're passionate about, that your passion in itself is enough. If you're able to monetize it and make something from it, well then that's just an added bonus, but your passion isn't any less just because you can't make a career out of it. It's the love of actually being able to do something. That's the part of life that makes life worth living, not the fact that you have to monetize everything because society expects you to. It's really hard to find a certain path in life that you can be content with. For me, I wouldn't do just any old job. I wouldn't go and work in a supermarket or be a nurse. That's not what fills me up. But I'm happy with the idea of being content and knowing that I can apply skills that I have to a certain discipline. And it doesn't have to be something that I'm passionate about. However, I am doing the things that I'm passionate about. I'm filming, I'm making music. James and I are working on our duo. And that's the stuff that really makes me happy. And that's the stuff I love to concentrate on. But it feels good knowing that I can take the pressure off myself and know that I don't have to go to uni and study theatre studies in order to make my life feel fulfilled. It's also okay to change the things that you love to do. It's okay to be good at more than one thing. It's okay to have a whole bunch of different styles of art or any kind of other intellectual projects that you want to involve yourself in. It's okay to have a whole bunch of different things to be interested in. The whole fact that we have to have this one thing that we need to concentrate on and monetize in order to be a successful person in life is disheartening, and it's gonna disappoint you when you come out the other side feeling utterly exhausted, which is what I felt. So I want to hear from you guys. Have you managed to turn your passion into a career? If you have, that's really awesome. And you're very lucky, and I know you probably realize that. If you haven't been able to turn your passion into a career, please let me know. Tell me what you're doing in your life. Tell me what kind of career you have, if you're satisfied with it or not. Let me know in the comments below. For now, however, I hope you guys have a really good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys all again for the next video. Bye.